if it eventually does. Pick some bans as MeetYourMakers take on Fnatic. Azir instantly off the table, as is Ahri. Huni has traditionally paired up with Reignover to phenomenal success when he's playing a damaged top laner. Let's see what he can get his hands on in today's games. Both teams really taking their time. MeetYourMakers, of course, still looking to regain that synergy that they lost from Kori leaving the team and rejoining the team.
They're just looking to find a playstyle, to be honest, because when we see MYM play right now, it's all focused on individual performance. You need someone to do one of the laning phase, and maybe he's able to snowball the entire early mid game for you and try to kind of get you into late game team fights. The one win we did see MYM pick up was actually against Copenhagen Vods, where Mimer was playing MrRalleZ and did a very, very good job at actually looking for the right team fights. That was, of course, with Blizzard back in week 2, and now Kori, he came back last week. He was camped actually every single game. He was completely shut down by the enemy mid laner and jungler, and therefore he didn't have any impact at all.
Very interesting to see Gnar taken off the table, mostly because Huni's Gnar left a lot to be desired when it came to his ultimates. I think he had mechanical proficiency, hopping and skipping in Mini and Mega Gnar, but the problem he had when Fnatic lost their game to the Unicorns of Love, Huni never hit targets into walls. He just never got those Gnars as and where he needed to.
Notice what Fnatic is doing here, banning all the mid laners against Kori, and also setting up a LeBlanc pick for Febiven. You have the Zed out of there, which is a good matchup into LeBlanc. We have the Kassadin, who is a counter pick as well. So they're really setting up for LeBlanc for themselves. And I don't know, I quite like this Lissandra first pick actually from MYM. You need some way of forcing team fights, so your way to play right now is win laning phase and completely snowball a mid-game advantage. Don't try and go full late game. Your shot calling and your synergy is not there compared to the likes of Fnatic, we would expect at least. So I think Lissandra is a good flex pick as well. Can be locked in for Kori as well. So we might see them at a combo here where Horo and whoever's playing that Lissandra can run together, give a Horo maybe a Jarvan pick, and try and really get some ganks going.
Well, we need to see if that works out. Fnatic with a couple seconds on the clock. They have not paired Rengar with any other top laner except Lissandra in the past, and they've comboed it with Xerath in week 1 and do a very good job. So Febiven going back to the comfort pick of that Xerath. He's had a great job in the past, as again, it was part of a trio. Xerath, Rengar, Lissandra. Lissandra's not available.
Right. Another piece to that puzzle was always Sivir being the AD carry. When they played Rengar, they would do Sivir, Rengar, and Xerath as well. So you would use that Sivir ulti to get great positioning in team fights through the Xerath. And that's why MYM is taking it away, and that's really, really smart by them. Knowing that Fnatic loves to add in that utility AD carry. And we actually had a tweet earlier today, it was read on the analyst desk about Steelback being underrated currently in the EU LCS. Honestly, I don't think he's underrated at all. I actually think he's maybe slightly overrated because his performance has been mainly on Sivir, which is a utility AD carry, which fits him perfectly because he can kind of start slow and just assist his team and this very aggressive playstyle we always see from Fnatic through the Sivir. We haven't really seen him shine on an individual performance so far. It's always been utility focused and helping out his team. He's actually been losing laning phases 2 and 2, so that should be what MYM also can look for.
Deficio laying down the law, pressure on Steelback.
So let's just be real. When you say a player is overrated, it doesn't mean he's bad. He can still be a top 80 carry. He might not just be on the forgiven level just yet. You can still be overrated there.
I think the clarification is fair, and I'm very interested to see how Steelback performs. Sivir's taken away, as you've highlighted. MeetYourMakers got the heavy makings of a pick scenario. Movement speed from Sivir, engage from Lissandra and Leona. The tools are there to make plays happen. Let's see how Fnatic respond.
And again, by banning that Annie and taking Leona for Nisbeth, they try and remove the engage support from YellowStar. He's been the main engage every single time he's been on either Annie or Leona, so they take that away. And again, you take the Sivir away. So far, I actually quite like the pick and ban phase from MYM, but Fnatic are still running this very strong team fight. A lot of AoE damage coming down, but a lot of magic damage here. Again, Rumble Xerath and obviously Corki, which is mixed between the magic and physical damage. That means for MYM, early lock-it on a Jarvan, stack some magic resist, Abyssal Scepter coming in obviously for your Lissandra as well, and it's actually going to be pretty hard for Fnatic then to take down targets too fast.
Well, you're going to have a lot of wave clear on the side of MeetYourMakers, which I think will be important because Fnatic have got a theoretical powerhouse when it comes to pushing towers down in the mid lane. With all of that poke and long range, Jarvan and Jayce, MeetYourMakers got a well-rounded collection of damage and poke and wave clear, and they have all of the engage that they could want. So, as you've already said, Deficio, MeetYourMakers with a strong pick and ban phase. Fnatic going to look to finalize their team comp. Do they want to disengage with Janna? Do they want the engage and disengage with Alistar?
Going disengage.
The answer is going to be Janna. I think that's intelligent. Monsoon will also help against any potential poker Jayce can put down. That's your team comps.
Yeah, you could have done, obviously, Alistar as a direct counter to the Leona here, but Janna is just such a top pick. And once again, falling through the pick and ban phase for YellowStar now. So very, very strong team fight comps. Actually, two very strong team fight comps here from both sides. One of them, however, from Fnatic is more focused on being able to disengage a little bit, have that long-range poke through a Xerath and a Corki. We know that mid-game spike they get, use it. Group up early, poke through a Xerath and a Corki. We know that mid-game spike they get, use it, group up early, put down the Rumble ulti behind the tower, and then you just take it when MYM is forced to back away. But there's so much engaged on the side of MYM. If they do well in the laning phase, they can force team fights and prevent Fnatic from ever grouping up and landing down any poke, because then they're simply going to get engaged on. And Janna in herself is not going to be enough to disengage that through a Lissandra coming in, Jarvan Catalysm. We keep talking about how that's going to lock Janna in place despite knocking him away. And obviously the Leona with the long range ulti.
The build-up of today, Reignover said that in the loss to the Unicorns of Love, they learned a lot and Fnatic will never repeat the same mistakes again. They've got a team composition that cannot afford mistakes because MeetYourMakers have got so many tools to engage on them. You're about to see those team comps. Let's see how much Fnatic have learned since their loss last week. You guys know the deal. Hashtag MYM win. Hashtag FNC win. The audience is super excited for this one. As MeetYourMakers look to claw their way back up from the bottom of the standings. And Fnatic, they look to stay as close to SK as they can.
Yes, indeed. SK still undefeated. Fnatic only lost to Unicorns of Love last week, which more or less came down to them misplaying team fights. And the Unicorns managed to take the win for themselves. But honestly, MYM here, again, strong pick and ban phase. They had the same last week, lost anyway in their situation. And one of the first times we see Jayce in a long time, here in Europe at least, picked into this Xerath. So very farm-focused laning phase, but it does add in quite a lot of poke. Suddenly from MYM just through Kori, and also some all-in potential. Normally you don't see Jayce in all-in comps, however, but because he has that gate, and you provide that together with the Sivir ulti, there's so much mobility for the entire team then to go in and out.
And you don't also associate Kori with Jayce play. It's not something that he has played all too often. It's a lot more calculated, albeit you've got all that execution in the hammer form, so let's see how far Kori wants to jump into the team fights, and of course, how well he's going to perform. He played his first 2 games with the squad last week. MeetYourMakers still looking really to stabilize all of the off-rift drama. And it is something that has affected their gameplay. Let's see if this week of practice works out, because their pick and ban phase has been very, very strong.
Same for last week here. So Yamato Cannon, the coach, doing some work together with his players. And he actually tweeted earlier this week that it's very important that everyone remembers that these players, they need your support. Whatever's happening behind the scene, it's not due to these players itself here. They really want your support.
Well, we'll have to see if they can earn it. MrRalleZ and Nisbeth going to recall up in this top lane. We do see Steelback and YellowStar, in theory, going to set themselves up for a lane swap. YellowStar currently helping out Huni in the jungle. And Reignover going to be on one of his stronger jungle picks that he's performed on this split.
So again here, Fnatic really likes to lane swap, despite having actually a good 2-and-2 lane with their Corki Janna into Sivir Leona. we don't see them too very often. And honestly, I still feel like this is because as a dual lane, they don't feel confident enough, and they actually prefer playing around in swaps, trying to get the lead that way. Get a tower down early as well to open up the map a little bit, and then you can start grouping after the laning phase and create these picks here. But there's some new things for Fnatic. This is one of the first time we see a Rengar pick with no additional speed ups to help Reignover on the Rengar. Normally they always pair it again with the Sivir. This time around, Janna move speed is all he has to help him. And also Xerath was picked. First rotation by Fnatic. Despite them banning everything that could actually counter LeBlanc, they felt confident enough taking this as a blind pick, something that has really backfired, especially over in Korea.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Febiven can make it work in his regard. And I know I was obsessing over Rengar plus move speed last week. Shook made me sit down and shut right up because he demonstrated there's definite opportunities for ganking as long as you've got that CC combo from your solo laners. Febiven, if you can get a stun down, obviously it's going to make it easier. We do see Mimer and Horo setting themselves up for a potential dive, but YellowStar's had decent vision. Huni's decided to stick around. This is going to not work out for him. There's 4 members of MeetYourMakers. Huni's been caught. The shield comes out. Damage onto Nisbeth. One more turret shot. He's going to go down. Huni makes it work. He is still alive. They've managed to trade 2 for 1. MrRalleZ forced a flash. And that just went horribly wrong for MeetYourMakers.
Okay, I'm actually a little bit sad we didn't get to talk about this lane swap more before all this happened here. First of all, MYM doing a very greedy dive where they're actually waiting a long time. Huni's already level 3, 1 from the camp and 1 from the farm in the lane itself, so he's very hard to take down. Remember, he has a Dawn shield. Nisbeth didn't try and flash away from this turret either, has flash ready. 2 kills now for Fnatic and completely turning that dive around here. When you're against Rumble, because he's starting Dawn shield, it makes him fairly tanky, making it risky to dive him. So either you do a short jungle clear, you don't do the Skull Crab or anything, and you go straight to try and dive him 4v1 when he's level 2. If you can't do that, you should just freeze the lane from the start against the Rumble. He has a hard time picking up a lot of farm. He only has the harpoons to get the farm itself. So you can actually deny him quite a lot with a Leona sitting in a bush. Don't try and dive, just freeze the wave at level 1 and make sure he doesn't pick up too much farm so he gets these magic penetration items early. This dive was very, very risky, and we saw the exact same thing happen in NA last week, where you dive a Rumble. When he hits level 3, he has the Dawn shield, and it's so hard to do because he gets so tanky. And obviously also YellowStar was even there. Yeah,
YellowStar with that Eye of the Storm and Exhaust, just giving Huni a couple extra seconds to get damage down. MeetYourMakers with a very poorly executed dive. 2-1. It was both of the top laners securing those last hits. Reignover about to meet Horo in the jungle. Last week we actually saw the video feature of the 4 Korean players that have moved over to EU to play. Horo and Reignover, 2 junglers. They were buddy-buddy then, and can't be buddy-buddy today. Steelback, 44 CS, he's got an advantage over MrRalleZ thanks in part to that botched dive.
Perfect start basically for Fnatic, punishing MYM for the slow dive in the bottom lane.
Oh, Febiven with the stun right of the Arcane comes out. He's 3 for 3. And Kori's going to be forced backwards. We do see Reignover putting some damage down onto Horo, but that was a great setup from Febiven just to get some lane presence and pressure on this flash heal Jayce.
And with Steelback being alone in the lane from level 1, YellowStar very early recall to go help Huni, expecting to dive again. If you see the enemy slow building up the wave in a lane swap, you should always expect the dive, and that's why YellowStar could recall, go down to the bottom lane. Reignover tried to join as well and prevent Huni from actually dying, just predicting what MYM was going to do from how they were handling the wave at level 1. And that's why Steelback has been able to get a very early level 6. Zone away Mimer as well, just in the one-on-one lane, get all the farm he needs, and now Mimer is just left on his own. This is going to be a tower once Fnatic want to kill it. Let's see if they actually decide to let this tower take all the minions out, then you finish it. So they have to wait now for the tower to clear everything. Otherwise, he's going to push all the way down to Mimer, and he's going to get a lot of farm.
So Mimer, 9 CS to the 28 of Huni. Look at Horo on the bottom lane. This is round 2. The tower is up and alive. Knockup doesn't connect. Nisbeth tanks one more hit before backing away. Huni manages to survive, as does Nisbeth. Nisbeth's still alive. The spell shield is there. Huni goes in. Flamespitter gets him one. That is a homie pot if ever I've seen one. Horo manages to connect. There's minions there to keep him alive. But that was once again another kill given over to Huni. 3-2.
I mean, again, MYM really trying to shut down his Rumble, and it's just backfiring completely for them. MrRalleZ just didn't have flash. He couldn't flash in for the last auto attack, so Huni managed to get away from him, and in the end, trade 1-for-1 while they got to push down his top wave. Mimer did get all the farm though. The tower couldn't take out all the minions, so he at least is getting close to that level 6 point. But Huni, I mean, he's just been getting so much gold here. Horny guys already. Gonna get his Sorcerer's Boots next time he goes back, and this is gonna be a very early Hourglass from him as well. It's gonna be some scary stuff in these mid-game team fights.
Of the 2,000 gold lead that Fnatic have earned themselves, 1,000 of that is in Huni's Xerath. 2,900 gold to the 2,100 of his opposite number. We did see Mimer picking up a bunch of CS as that wave pushed in his favor, but every single lane working out. We do see Reignover just a tad behind Horo, thanks of course because of Horo's kill, despite the fact that Horo botched those tower dives with the rest of MYM. All of the engage power in the world is not going to help you if you fall too far behind. MeetYourMakers cannot keep giving up or keep hemorrhaging gold against Fnatic.
No, and especially not against Corki and Xerath, this mid-game spike they're gonna have. If you can't engage on them, they will poke you so much that you're forced to recall and give up your objectives. You're gonna give up Dragon, Towers, everything just through the poke coming down. And if you ever try and stay around, well then Rengar is gonna find you and kill you as well. So MYM really in a tough situation now through these failed dives onto Huni.
Huni with the level advantage and item advantage forces Mimer to use that glacial path just to get out of danger. And now Fnatic, are they considering the dragon? No. Here comes a Thrall of the Hunt. Oro is in trouble. Level 6, he's rooted. Light of the Arcane comes down. 1, 2, 3, not even needed. The damage from Reignover and the combo from Febiven, that's their 4th kill of the game.
We've seen this combo so many times from Fnatic. Reignover looks for a one-on-one, and he knows Febiven is in position to help him with his ulti from the mid lane here, and you just snipe it straight down. The target is already locked to the ground through the Bowler Strike, and obviously Febiven assisting Reignover with that kill. Dragon as well now for Fnatic. This one single playstyle they do have seems to again be paying off for them.
Oh, they may set their sights on Kori. Equalizer's available. Let's see what he does. Slow comes out. Dragon secured. Teleport instantly from Mimer. We see the accelerated shock blast coming out, and Kori's in trouble. Mimer flashes forward. Frozen Tomb locks him down. Stun from Febiven does not connect. Huni still in full retreat as the Equalizer forces MYM to back away. Huni goes 4-0.
He just doesn't want to die.
He does not want to go down without taking one with him.
MYM simply trying to force some fights here. And Fnatic once again, there are more members. Everything under control. Tower as well is looking great for Fnatic at the moment.
Very well played. Here's the replay of that mid lane dive.
Yeah, so basically what MYM is hoping for here is that once the teleport comes in from Mimer, then you can claw and ulti straight on Huni before he actually gets too far away, because then now suddenly you're gonna get flanked by Febiven. YellowStar joining in as well, and you can keep following through the choke point of a Rumble ulti, and that's why that flash away and suddenly Mimer is left on his own and ends up dying for it. So they're trying to get a quick pick on him, but the early flash from Huni meant that suddenly Fnatic would turn it around again.
And you got to give some praise to Huni as well. He didn't throw down that Equalizer instantly in the mid lane. The fact that he held on to it, also the fact that he overheated, prevented him using it. But very good reaction from Fnatic to get the teleport out of Mimer, to get themselves another kill, and now Huni's got the teleport advantage if he wants to continue applying pressure on the map. Level 8 on Huni's Rumble. Mimer halfway through level 8, halfway towards level 8 rather. But you can just see how far back he's playing in the lane. He's terrified of Huni.
Remember, Fnatic, all this magic damage. It's not gonna matter if you don't even get to late game, that the other team can just stack MR against you. Especially also because Abyssal Scepter is gonna be delayed for Mimer. Locket, obviously, I mean, there's gonna be no global gold being picked up for either Horo or Nisbeth. So they have to kind of rush that one, meaning these mid-game team fights with a Rumble this fit is gonna go heavily in favor of Fnatic.
And quietly, Steelback is farming away. Got himself 122 CS to the 99 of MrRalleZ. 2 ingredients of the 3 required for that Trinity Force. Huni, Haunting Guys, and Sork Shoes. Very close to hitting level 10 and continues to just power up. Fnatic have decided they own MYM's jungle. MYM cannot pick a fight. Equalizer will melt literally anybody in there. Yep. So Fnatic got the towers, got the pressure, got the blue buff, got the Grom. It's their game, it's their map.
Yeah, and they are so good at playing around their own wards, always making sure there's an opening into the enemy jungle. We're gonna go straight in and place a few wards. Start looking for picks through Reignover and Febiven together, as we saw earlier already in this game. Horo is spotted on his red buff, so know exactly where he is at the moment. So just going back to base, buy a few more items, buy a few more wards, and really look to now get complete control of the map itself. Suddenly MYM is going to be in that situation where you can be too weak to engage, but you can't afford standing back either, because you're just going to get poked away from every single objective, and that's the worst situation where you have to rely on the other team making a mistake for you to come back.
Well, let's take stock of the situation. 4,000 gold in the lead. Fnatic 2 towers to 0, 3 kills above their opponents, as well as having a dragon on the board. You look at the items, Trinity Force completed for Corki now. Morella, Nomicon, plus Sork Shoes for Febiven. Haunting Guys and Sork Shoes for Huni. You know, you contrast that. Reignover, thrill of the hunt is on. MYM will not be thrilled if anyone gets caught out. But this one fizzles. Reignover not able to find a target.
No, Kori cleared the wave and actually just backed away to his turret. Target for Reignover will be gone now. That should buy a little bit of time for MYM to at least not get picked off. But these lanes are still pushing in, and Fnatic is sitting in the jungle. I like though how MYM has actually reacted to it and placed a lot of defensive wards themselves to try and spot where Fnatic is going, and use that to look for a mistake where maybe they can catch them out, because again, they do have all this engaged on their side. They have a lot of burst coming in, like a Graves, Lissandra, Jayce, Lissandra combo. Can take down a target, so that's what they're looking for here. Hoping for Fnatic to overextend. And
you know, something that Giants did against Fnatic last week was handle the Reignover ganks and handle the Reignover pressure relatively well, but they couldn't do it for the entire game. They could only do it during the laning phase. And as Reignover had more room to play with and had more opportunities to move around the map, then all of a sudden, Giants fell behind. 5 members of Fnatic got themselves grouped up. Febiven was in range for Right of the Arcane. Not even going to be needed, because MeetYourMakers given up their outer turret, backed away, and I think that was the wise decision. The risk of a gank or a fight would not have gone their way.
No, and again, you're at the point where the Corki is just so much stronger than Sivir, and you can keep pushing in these lanes when you are controlling the jungle of the enemy team. So Fnatic using their lead really well, not allowing MYM to do anything, and MrRalleZ now, he might be in trouble.
Let's take a look.
Scary enough,
not available yet for Reignover, so he's not going to have the ability to just hop in there with that extra movement speed, but Fnatic, they're pushing.
Yeah, again, this is the mid-game siege they can do. You have already Morel Nomicon completed for Febiven. He has some magic penetration and Trinity Force for Steelback, so they can group up this early. And if MYM engages, well, the Fnatic is ready for it and should be strong enough to actually fight back.
So a decent wave clear from MYM. Lissandra, Jayce, Sivir will do a decent enough job at clearing that wave out. You can see the vision. Fnatic got some deep wards down both top and bottom half of the map. This will be an uncontested dragon. It is number 2. And they continue to accelerate their lead. Bonus tower damage, which will benefit them greatly if Fnatic want to play that siege game. If they want to push the waves, get to those inner turrets.
Well, they should at least, with their comp. And now again, as you said, second dragon. Just after a perfect position for them. You can see Huni do his standard distortion very early on. He does it on nearly every top lane he plays for that teleport cooldown. And again, that's because Fnatic are always looking for these fights. So by having him get teleport ready before his counterpart, he can actually sit in a side lane and farm and then still be able to join in more often than not for these fights here, because obviously his Rumble ulti, with him being so far ahead of anyone basically with the 4 kills, is going to be a big deal.
Getting close to that level 11, you just saw him hit 10. Still got an advantage over Mimer. Actually fallen behind in CS, but you can forgive him for that. He's got 4 kills, helped out with some dragons, and his ultimate alone will dissuade anyone from MeetYourMakers for picking a fight. Fnatic, that very early advantage has fizzled just a little and slowed down, because now they have to extend much further past those inner turrets. Got themselves another blue buff. I think they stole both. One previous, at least.
Oh,
that was
Kori.
close.
Close. Yeah, you can't move anywhere. Everything is warded up by Fnatic. They can just slowly sit back on the side now. Okay, you got the 2 side lanes pushing. Febiven is going to push in the mid lane, and then Steelback can join the team and you can do a 1-4 split push. You're going to see him move down the map or the river now to join Febiven and the rest of Fnatic here to push in and land some fantastic poke. Let's see if MYM can actually look for a fight. Or is it Reignover going in?
Is hungry. He hops over the wall. Right of the arcane goes out. Third shot doesn't connect, but the equalizer does. Now Kori's the focus. The rest of Fnatic are in range to put the damage down. MrRalleZ, Kori, Horo, full retreat. No one goes down, but where are the minions? Can Fnatic get the tower? I think they can. There's a lot of damage to come out.
Mimer's on the side here. Look at Mimer. He wants to try and go for the engage, but there's too many guys for MYM back in base. And that's why Fnatic can take another tower for themselves. When Leona has to use ulti to try and disengage, then you really know you're in trouble and you have no way of actually getting onto the backline of Fnatic itself. So Febiven is going to feel so safe together with Steelback.
Deficio, I do have to call you out a tad. I think they knew they were in trouble before Leona had to defensively solo flare.
You are probably correct.
But that's just me being a little bit mean. What's the goal difference? Over 5,000, nearly 6K. The 4th tower fallen in favor of Fnatic. And it just feels like everywhere Fnatic push, they are taking advantages. They have CS leads in every lane except top. Obviously, all of the global gold and the pushing powers in their favor, but you did see how effective Kori's wave clear was. 1 accelerated shock blast took out a lot of those minions. So if MYM can keep defending, they have some abilities to stall, but they've just got to be so careful.
Yeah, so what they're trying to do now is trying to predict where Fnatic is on the map and get something elsewhere, and that's why they had this wave pushing in. All 5 run up there, take that 1 tower, get some gold, recall instantly as well, because you know Fnatic is pushing either the bot lane or the mid lane. So I actually quite like that small trade from MYM, trying to get back in the game, get whatever Fnatic wants to give them. This tower, however, against 5 guys of Fnatic is not going to last long. Mimer though, teleporting behind.
Let's see what he can do.
Hope God as well.
Fnatic have got all of their abilities. Wow, that was a big mistake. If a ward times out, does your teleport cancel? Because that ward is no longer there. I may have cancelled that one. So, MeetYourMakers, wasted teleport. Mimer does not manage to get in. And Fnatic continue the siege.
Again, just using their comp really well here from Fnatic. Only problem is that Rengar doesn't really add anything at all in a siege. Especially because if you do get engaged on, you can't really use his pick potential. But the rest of the comp fits in nicely here for Fnatic. You can even, again, put down the Rumble ulti just behind the tower, and you're gonna force MYM to back away from it. And that's what you can do when the tower is low enough for you to go in and finish it. Fnatic for now, trying to play a bit safe. They have the dragon advantage. Next one is coming in about a minute. Whenever they see 5 guys from MYM, they decide to back away because they didn't have the mid or top lane really in a good position in terms of their minion waves.
Well, thank you, observers in production. Taking a look, that ward did not time out. And even if it did, the teleport would cancel. So Mimer, hearing the call from the team or making the decision himself, decides not to engage. Fnatic were, of course, breaking away from the lane. So maybe just not wanting to pick that fight in the jungle. Fnatic, they do not get the tower. They get a lot of damage, and they are the ones that have now backed away. So 40 seconds till the next dragon. Fnatic should be able to just set up some vision and basically bait MYM in. Unless Kori gets a good steal with an acceleration gate shock blast. I can't see MYM picking a fight against this incredibly fed and farmed Fnatic squad.
No, and a lot of pink wards picked up as well, straight to the Baron here. Again, Fnatic is a team who's often, I'm gonna say, has shown the ability to snowball games. But then we saw them against Rocket here, where Rocket actually did a very good job defending, got to late game, and it was a lot harder for Fnatic to finish it. But this time around, I mean, look at the vision on the map here. Pink wards, green wards, everything. It is a free Baron. Nothing MYM can do to stop it. They should actually go Dragon now and try to just... it's risky, but they could have tried to stay at the Dragon, kill it as soon as it spawns, and then recall. But then again, you would actually lose your tower here.
Oh, Mimer gets silenced as Fnatic take him out. I love that play from Fnatic, because if MYM had the timer on Dragon and went to check it, it would have made it an even safer Baron for Fnatic.
True. I mean, it's a very, very tough situation for MYM, because staying in the mid lane obviously was not going to be the right call, because either you're going to be in the top wave where the minions are coming in and you can try and defend, or you try and get a Dragon and avoid that 5th Dragon coming up a bit in the future, but nearly an impossible situation for MYM. We're just going to see Reignover engaging onto Mimer. He saw him in the lane beforehand, and he's obviously left all on his own.
That's brutal.
That's very brutal.
That was a very brutal replay, but it does end up resulting...
Alright, and they will actually get the Dragon anyway from MYM. But this is good. Get that 6%, and make sure Fnatic is not going to play around that 5th Dragon. So I like this play here by MYM. They're making some... but they're trying to make some plays to get back in the game, which is something we didn't see from them in the past, why they would just basically sit back and say, we need you to make a mistake before we are going to do anything. Here, they are actually trying to play around Fnatic a little bit. Now they can use a base gate.
Oh, Reignover has actually thrown down the ulti, looking for a target. Doesn't manage to find one. Take a look at your items really quickly. Huni, sitting on that Leandries, has had a Seekers for a little while. Warmog's picked up by Reignover. Hourglass and another Rod for Febiven. And Kori, of course, has completed that Mirror Mana. Unfortunately, Mimer, from all of that early pressure and limited resources, only a Morellonomicon for his name. So this is going to allow Fnatic to use all of that damage to their favor. Tower secured. On the hunt comes down from MrRalleZ. Decent damage on Fnatic. They are going to get one. Huni is now out. Very good engage with the Frozen Tomb from Mimer. And Kori's got a double. It's replied with Steelback. Boomerang goes out, a 2-for-1. MeetYourMakers get the kills, but they may not be able to defend this objective. They've used all of their abilities. Kori, can he get some poke down? He does. Mercury Hammer, does he want to throw it down? The answer is no. Fnatic lose the fight, get the objectives. They'll be happy with that.
Yeah, but we did see at least the power of the MYM team fighting composition here. Once you get an engage in at least, took out 2 targets for themselves, but still so far behind they lost inhibitor. And we can just see, I mean, look at the players for MYM and their items. You can see someone like Horo here, he's going towards the locket, but he needs like just something on the way because he's so far behind. So getting those early ruby crystals for some HP at least, magic resist, it's gonna take him a long time before he sits on that locket in itself, and might be too late even, because Fnatic are not looking to stop. They keep pressing the advantage. 25 minutes in, inhibitor is gone. Baron is already being picked up as well from Fnatic.
Very decisive play once again from Fnatic. Once they have a lead, they push an objective and they really do commit to it. Yes, in their game against Unicorns of Love, it may have cost them. You can argue from bad calls or bad execution, but in this matchup against MeetYourMakers, they have punished the MYM tower dives. Thanks to the power that Huni earned himself, it has allowed Fnatic to push down the towers or the dragons, mostly uncontested, and that's why they continue to dominate the map and dominate the control.
MYM came into this game saying, we have to make plays early on. We can't just sit back and be passive any longer. That's not going to win us any games. We're going to try and make some plays. In this game, it backfired for them. That's why Fnatic is currently winning it. But at least, it's a difference. You need to try and snowball the early game when you know you don't have the same communication or synergy as the team you're facing. And this is a nice engage from Nisbeth.
Solar Flare comes out. Febiven manages to get away. Mikhail's Crucible's been used. Reignover hops onto Oro and he hops over the wall. Right to the Arcane goes out. I think that was 3 for 3, but not on the same target. So MYM forced to retreat. Mimer's low, still has his ultimate. Does have teleport as well. Where are the wards? Not a lot of deep vision, so flanking opportunities are lower. And for Fnatic, No Xerath ultimate. Rumble still got his if a fight were to break out, but he would need to teleport. Huni's pushing the top lane.
Also have to worry about the Nexus here. Super Minions already pushing onto it, trying to take down a tower, while Fnatic might be caught out.
So Reignover's only the first one. Focus down from MeetYourMakers. The Nexus is being hammered on in the backline. Horo will get dropped as Fnatic continue to put the damage down. Teleports from both top laners. Febiven charges up that Arcano Pulse. The minions have been pushed back for the time being. Fnatic trade junglers, but get an inner turret. They're going to be able to back away. A little bit awkward, but I think Fnatic, again, they get the buff, they get the damage, and they get another kill on the board.
It's all about the towers here for Fnatic. They don't even mind trading a 1-for-1 in these fights. As long as you keep opening up the base. Baron is now 130. Look for them to do exactly the same as before. You even see them pick up 4 pink wards here. Go straight down to this Baron. You already have actually the ones from before. Place a few more wards, wait for it to spawn, take it, and push down once again to the base of MYM. Honestly, we're gonna have to see the perfect team fights for MeetYourMakers if they want to get back in this game. They've been trying.
Yeah.
And these engages
it's gotten
here.
better. It's gotten better. Once they've got a few more items, you know, on the inhibitor, they managed to come out ahead 2-for-1. They did trade 1-for-1. Horo's been caught out. YellowStar's going to knock him up. The flag, the drag. Nisbeth jumps in. Reignover lands the baller. Horo is down. Double kill for Reignover as he just flies through the air. Mimer, glacial path away to safety. 50 seconds for Baron. 2 members of MeetYourMakers down. Fnatic once again finding the picks. Once again finding their targets.
Once again, Reignover looking great on Rengar, despite having no help from the team in terms of speeding him up. So finding the picks every single time. And this Baron is going to belong to Fnatic. No questions about that at all.
And we touched on the synergy between Huni and Reignover during picks and bans. We touched on how well they're performing. Steelback 2-0-1. Deficio, you were touching on, you know, the lane swaps and exactly where Steelback fits into the grand scheme of things. You can't deny that with the other carries on Fnatic, he is doing what is required.
That's the thing. I really like the way to use.
Yep.
Again, he's new to the LCS. He's a young guy. You make sure he doesn't get the carry role instantly and just say, here's a hyper carry. We're just going to rely on you now in the late game. No, they let him play the champions he wants to. They make sure he plays the style he likes as well. And he's not the main carry of Fnatic, but he doesn't have to. Yeah. He's a good AD carry. He's doing his job every single game. And picking a Corki, use the mid game. That's all that's required of you.
Let's see what happens. Does the kitty cat want to pounce? Fnatic waiting on the move speed. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, jump onto Twitter. This could be an LCS big play waiting to happen. Thrill of the Hunt is out. There goes Rengar. He's jumped on Mimer. Mimer forced a frozen tomb. Equalizer comes out and Mimer is down. We do see the baller strike go out, but Kori manages to get away thanks to the movement speed. And Fnatic find themselves a kill using the Scuttle Crab and setting themselves up for more.
Fnatic, they just keep baiting this one. They don't want to start the Baron, hoping for more kills beforehand. Now they will be able to get it. Leading
into that gank, Febiven had the license to kill. 0 kills, 0 deaths, 7 assists. Now he's on the board at 1-0-7. Fnatic realize no one's coming to contest. MrRalleZ down in the bottom lane. They get their second Baron of the game. Gonna recall, spend some money, and look to put those final nails into the coffin against MeetYourMakers.
Yeah. And Mimer here in this Lissandra. We like the pick. He's just been set so far behind compared to Huni after the swap here. He's trying to get this hourglass, obviously, which you need to dive onto the backline of Fnatic. And what we actually have seen, not in Europe, but what I know a lot of the Korean Lissandra players will do if they have a bad start, is you just go for the Codex and your Lucidity boost, so you get that the same amount of cooldown reduction, or you get a lot of cooldown reduction, and then you actually get Hourglass before you complete a Morellonomicon. And if you have, again, an Abyssal Scepter, which is going to be a key item for you, you can even take that one before completing Morellonomicon, just because you need those defensive stats, and you need them earlier than you normally would. Because, again, your combo is all about diving onto the enemy team, and if you are falling behind, well, it's not going to work for you.
So Mimer, once again, looking for a flank. He's tried it a few times before. It's not been the greatest. When Fnatic had the previous Baron, they sieged up and they got the turret and the inhibitor. Here comes Reignover once again. He lands with the skill shot. Reignover very, very seldom misses that one. And you have to question, how do teams play against Reignover and Fnatic when they are on form? Inhibitor goes down, right to the Ukraine comes out. One misses. Let's wait. Where's the rest, Febiven?
They're coming.
He farmed them. He farmed them. I just get excited because of the double kill he picked up a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So he's been the European sniper for sure whenever he plays Xerath. And this game again, picked up a lot of assists, but he's been there with his ultis. Every time Reignover would lock down a target, Febiven was there to assist him. And now pushing onto this turret here. Mid inhibitor, it's already gone. Fnatic taking it very low.
Equalizer's available.
TP behind now. It's going to be the engage.
Zenith Blade does not connect. Solar Flare catches Reignover. Mimer's looking for a target. Forced to self-cast to stay alive. Frost Bomb from Steelback is going to take Mimer down as the reply is on to YellowStar. Now Nisbeth forced on the retreat. Steelback is carrying for the team from the back line. Fnatic have got 3 despite losing 2, and with the empowered minions, they're gonna get a second inhibitor.
They have super minions on the Nexus as well here. MrRalleZ is trying to defend it. Fnatic gonna win the game yet.
Well, let's see what Kori can do. He's flashed for this one. He's gonna get the shock blast out. Swatch to Mercury Hammer if he wants to, decides against it. The risk of a shocking orb stun means that Kori looking for more than he can achieve. Right? Fnatic haven't won the game yet. They've got all the tools to do it. Here's a replay.
Yeah, so Telework coming in from Mimer here. Nisbeth, where's his ulti? He actually first misses 7th Blade and then ulti only onto Reignover. So Fnatic managed to disengage early hourglass from Febiven as well. And also we need to remember Mikhail's was picked up by YellowStar earlier. So no coordination really to try and lock down a few targets from the engage. Missing through Nisbeth and obviously Mimer not being able to find a target. Meaning that Fnatic can take another team fight.
And such a great equalizer from Huni, completely splitting that bottom lane in half. You have to cross that ability to either fight or to retreat, and then still flashing forward Flame Spit in Hourglass. So well played by Huni. 5-3-6. If Mimer had not been shut down so much so early and had an Hourglass, maybe, you know, could have caught somebody and survived a tad longer. But unfortunately, when you're 11k gold down, you don't have the luxury of minor misplays.
No, and I mean, it's been a tough game from MYM. Ever since that lane swap failed for them, it's basically been in favor of Fnatic. And they have not allowed MYM to do anything on the map itself. 2 towers are down only. One of them obviously went down through lane swap itself.
And you know, talking about that lane swap and the tower dive, there are reasons that tower dives are so much less frequent in the early game, and it's because of just how much more damage those towers put out. You referenced the Rumble tower dives from NA last week, and again, just MYM not synchronizing correctly. And also, YellowStar having the damage shield and the exhaust also playing into their favor. You can't disregard that.
So it's harder to pull off the tower dives, but if you time it correctly, you can still do it. And that was a problem for MYM. They took a long jungle route, so Huni got level 3 before anything happened, and YellowStar had time to recall from the top lane, come down and help him as well. And MYM still went for the dive. Instead of saying, okay, abort, we can still back out here before anything happens. And that's really what set them behind. Reignover,
Reignover jumps onto the tower, gets the damage out. Equalizer is out on the back line. Everybody going low. We see the Hourglass pop from Huni. Reignover is dropped. MeetYourMakers holding on. Super Minions pushing in. That little engage not working out in favor of Fnatic. However, Febiven's going to even it up 1 for 1. Top laner down from MeetYourMakers, despite that heavy engage. And a small glimmer of hope from MeetYourMakers, but it's just too little. We do see MrRalleZ putting damage down. They've caught Febiven. He's forced to Hourglass. Steelback untouched with so much damage. There's super minions on the Nexus turret. Steelback is going to Valkyrie away. Now the inhibitor is being focused down. Kori gets hit. Frost Bomb chunks him out. Huni teleports. The fight's been so long that he's come back from the pit. And we do see inhibitor taking out super minions on the Nexus turrets. That's going to be the win for Fnatic.
Once again, a very, very dominant performance here from Fnatic. Taking another win. SK Gaming is not secured #1 yet.
7-0-4 from Steelback. Huni 5-3-8. And Fnatic never looked challenged.